So first of all, to the media, I want to say thank you. It's been a busy news day, and we've been working with the media all day today on lots of positive and interesting things. And this announcement is actually an incredibly positive and an incredibly important announcement today, and it has to do with AOT in the city of Albuquerque. AOT is Assisted Outpatient Treatment, and I'm going to have some experts here with me today, including Dr. TOHEN, who's here from UNMH. I've got Dr. Finch here with us today, Judge Nan Nash from the Second Judicial District. We're hoping to have her with us today to talk about this, and then Margarita Chavez, who's going to give us some closing remarks, and she's with the Bernalillo County Behavioral Health Projects Coordinator. So, several years ago, New Mexico was one of only a few states that did not have an assisted outpatient treatment law. And I'm going to give you the layman's version, and then I'll let the experts tell you what that means. But for all intents and purposes, there's a very small population of individuals who are suffering from severe mental health issues that are not in a program that is working for them, and at some point in time there may be a propensity to do harm to themselves, and they need some additional help. And that's, as eloquently as I can put it. I'll let the experts give you the better version of it. So we need assisted outpatient treatment so that we can work with our court systems, work with our professional service providers to get the people the help that they need when they need it. Let me say this again. This is a very, very, very small subset of population of people who are dealing with mental health issues. This does not in any way, shape, or form equate to mental health illness equaling violence. That's not what this is about. This is a humane way to get people help when they need it. So when the state legislature passed the law, it was driven in large part by Senator Mary Kay Papen. As a mayor of the city of Albuquerque, I worked directly with her to make sure that our community knew that this was the right thing to do. Brian Stetton, who's here with us today, who's the policy director for the Treatment Advocacy Center in Washington, D.C., Arlington, Virginia, was here to help testify in front of Senate committees. And at the end of the day, we were able to, come on in everybody, we were able to get this law passed. But like a lot of things, it passed with no resources. So we had assured our community, and we assured the state legislators that if you pass the law, we will come up with some resources. So today's announcement is that the city of Albuquerque is coming up with $250,000 to pilot this project in the Second Judicial District. Of that $225,000 that we're putting towards this program, $92,000 of that is going to go to the Second Judicial Court to hire someone to administer the AOT program. $132,000 is going for legal fees to represent the individuals who are suffering with severe mental health issues, to have legal representation as they go through the process. We have one advocacy group that's already signed up with us. Disability Rights New Mexico is going to sign up to do that. And Ellen Braden's not up here for whatever reason. Ellen, come on up. Ellen is our division manager for mental health services at Family and Community Services, and she's really been working hard on this. So we are the second municipality in New Mexico to take the law and put a pilot project into place. This will work with 20 individuals, up to 20 individuals in our community who qualify for these services. And we anticipate the impact to our community will do a couple of things. It will help the incidence and duration of psychiatric hospitalization, so it will help people be in the hospital less. We think it will help with homelessness initiatives. We think it will keep people out of jail and in a place where they can have much better and robust treatment. And then, of course, we think it's going to help with the interactions with the criminal justice system, but most of all, what it's going to do is going to improve the health and the social outcomes of individuals who have severe mental health issues in our community. So a lot of people to thank, and then I'm going to let the experts take over. So to Doug Chaplin, everybody at Family and Community Services, thank you for seizing on this opportunity. Thank you to the taxpayers of Albuquerque. These are your dollars that are going to help individuals in your community. We want to thank Judge Nan Nash in particular and her leadership of the Second Judicial District. We could not do this without them. Bernalillo County is here to speak today as well. And just want to thank everybody at the legislature that saw fit to take what was a controversial issue, vote on it because it's the right thing to do, and it's going to help a lot. So I'm going to let Doug Chaplin, then Brian, and Dr. Tohen, and then Margaret, and then when the folks from the Second Judicial District, I saw some people come in. Are y'all here? Okay. Okay. So if Judge Nash is she coming today or no?
She's still with the.
Okay. So Liz Garcia. Gotcha. So Liz Garcia is here that will be speaking. So you can come up as well. We'll have you speak last. Doug, tell us a little bit more about this.
Thank you, Mayor. Very exciting today to be here to talk to you about the Assisted Outpatient Treatment program that we're getting ready to roll out. What you're seeing being announced today is the result of many partners that have come together at the table over the last year. Some of these folks include not only the Department of Family and Community Services, the City of Albuquerque Legal, the University of Mexico Hospital, and their assertive community treatment teams. The Second Judicial Court is the mayor mentioned, Bernalillo County, law enforcement, and community-based agencies. NAMI has been a critical part of this conversation, as well as others. And I would just want to thank each and every one of you for working with us so diligently over the last year to bring today to fruition. We are implementing this program on a one-year basis, and we're going to be focusing on 20 individuals. And what we really want to understand after this first year is what the impact is going to be on the court system and what the impact is going to be to the University of New Mexico Health Hospital. And so this is an opportunity to study that a little bit further. This is a new program for us, and we want to make sure that we get it right. And so we want to start with focusing on 20 individuals. We believe very strongly that the assisted outpatient treatment will help individuals. It will make connections between the individual and the services that they need in the community. So the consumers will be identified, those that are identified that meet the criteria for assisted outpatient treatment will receive a comprehensive screening while in the hospital. And that will include a psychiatric evaluation, a medical screening, and a social history so that we understand everything that's going on. There'll be an initial treatment plan that's put together that is targeted specifically for the individual to help them achieve their goals. So we want to make sure that the consumers have access to a wide range of services throughout the community. They also may be connected with a primary medical care home if they don't already have one. This additional assistance could include housing, food, transportations, or any other needs that are identified. The community support worker will also coordinate all required information with the civil court system, including all the required reporting documents, and assure that the individual treatment plans are followed and aligned with the court requirements. Again, I'd like to thank city staff, the staff from the court, UNMH, Bernalillo County for coming along with this and helping us put this program together. I would like to thank Brian Stetton. Mayor introduced him earlier from the Advocacy Treatment Center. Brian has been working diligently with the state. He spent countless days and hours up in Santa Fe alongside Senator Papin to bring this law into being. And I think without his guidance, we probably wouldn't get this done as well. So I would like to introduce Brian Stetton.
Thank you so much, Doug.
Brian.
Thank you, Doug.
Alan and Liz on this side. You guys will scoot in a little bit more as we reshuffle.
Welcome.
Okay,
Thank you.
we good?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Doug and Mayor Berry. Today is an incredibly exciting day, a real huge step forward on a journey that families across New Mexico who are impacted by severe mental illness have been on for many years now. As the mayor mentioned, this concept, assisted outpatient treatment, is something that exists in most states. It's a program that you will see in many major cities around the country. It is really just about the best tool we have to help people who struggle with engaging with treatment for severe mental illness, who through no fault of their own, usually because of a lack of insight, lack of understanding that they have a need for treatment, often disengage from the treatment that is provided to them and prescribed for them, and wind up caught in this revolving door where they are coming into hospitals again and again and stabilized and released and disengaging again and going through this tragic cycle repeatedly, revolving door of the criminal justice system, because their inability to engage with treatment often leads them to commit acts that result in them getting arrested, and sometimes they wind up deep in the clutches of the criminal justice system, and it's not so easy to get them out. And so, our attempts to bring this to New Mexico go back quite a while now. It was, I think, in the early 2000s that we first tried to help get a law passed here. Had some frustrations in Santa Fe, and I know Mayor Chavez in 2006 in his frustration, actually tried to start an AOT program without a state law that was blocked by the courts, who said that it could not be done without a law on the books. And, you know, as is so often the case, it takes tragedy sometimes to make people realize how great a need there is. And in this case, in 2014, it was the tragic death of James Boyd in the Sandia foothills here that I think rallied a lot more attention to the fact that this is so desperately needed in New Mexico. And Senator Papin became a great champion of this, and finally in 2016 we were able to get the law passed. But, you know, to have it on the books without the programs in place in the major population centers in the state is a hollow victory. So it's just thrilling that we are now seeing this come into fruition and going to become a part of the treatment system here in Albuquerque. This is not a cure-all for everything that makes it challenging to provide treatment in public mental health, but this is the best tool we have. We know from the experience in the many cities that use this, there is nothing more effective in helping people avoid the harmful behaviors that lead to arrest and hospitalization happening repeatedly for folks. So I'm very confident that this pilot program is going to achieve results that will make a real groundswell come about to expand the use of this. And as the mayor said, this is not something that's ever going to become so widespread that you're using it with most people with severe mental illness. It is for a very distinct subset. But it's going to make a huge difference here in Albuquerque, and we can't wait to see the results. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate your advocacy for all these years. This is a story about how long it takes to get things done inside government a lot of times. I want to bring up Dr. Finch next. She wasn't even scheduled to speak, but I was so glad that she came, and I want to introduce. You've met Dr. Finch multiple times. I want her to speak from the family perspective, and this is. You know, we talk about policy, we talk about funding, we talk about programs, but at the end of the day, it's people's lives, it's people's families. And Dr. Finch has a very unique perspective, and she's been nothing but an advocate for this. She has been a friend to me as a mayor. She has coached me in these on these issues. She has educated me. She's inspired me. And so, Dr. Finch.
Thank you. 10 years it took. I came into my first little round with politics in the fall of 2017 as this was going through the legislature, and had the fortune to meet Brian and Mary Kay Papin. I had just gotten out of the hospital, and my life might have been very different if this had been in place previously. It's a not for everybody law. It's for people who are at risk of danger to themselves or others, which is not the case with most people with severe mental illness. But it's a program where medication can be used. It can help reduce the violence that may be present in some people, but it also can give people their lives back, their relationships. It can help quiet minds and let people work. And so we're hoping that this can be viewed as a gift for the individuals that become involved with it. Thank you.
Dr. Finch, thank you so much. Judge Nash just got here. Thank you. We're going to put you in last, but you're here. I want to bring you up if that's okay. Sure. Judge Nan Nash is the chief judge at the Second Judicial District Court. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Judge Nash. She is a passionate advocate for folks with mental health issues. She is a hard-working individual, has a lot on her plate. And for her to see fit to help us implement this at the judicial court is a real blessing, and her leadership has made this possible. So as we talk about the medical, we'll talk about the medical side, we've talked about the family side, the funding side, the advocacy side. At the end of the day, there's going to be an individual at the court that's going to be administering this, and it's going to be real-life judges dealing with real-life people and their issues. And so, Judge Nash, thank you so much for the partnership. We look forward to working with you on this and look forward to hearing a few words.
Thank you.
So the Second Judicial District Court has a long history in the state of New Mexico with being one of the courts that has been early to the plate on treatment style courts. We have a drug court, we have a mental health court on the criminal side of the house, we have a veterans court, we have a number of treatment courts where our goal is to assist folks who have come into contact with the system one way or another and end up before the court with getting their lives back in order. We have two new courts that we're initiating. One is our young adult court, but the other is this AOT court. And we have been impressed with the commitment of our other parties in the city of Albuquerque to put this together. We believe that this is a program that we can work with and commit to help folks who, again, are coming into contact with the judicial system. Most people never want to come into contact with the judicial system if they can help it. And when they do, to help use tools and support to put their lives back together. I'm greatly indebted to two of our folks, Elizabeth Garcia, our counsel, and John Chepner, one of our hearing officers, who have worked diligently on this, and also to all the partners who have put this together. And we look forward, this is actually going to be a court that I personally serve as a judge in. We're very excited about this and look forward to working on it. And thanks all the others who have worked so hard on it.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it, Judge Nance. Thank you. Let's move to a little bit of the medical side of it. MAURICIO TOHEN is an MD, and he's the chair of the Department of Psychiatry at the UNM Health Sciences Center. And they are a tremendous partner in this endeavor. So, Doctor, would you come up and maybe educate us on the medical side of this? Thanks.
Well, as mentioned by many, this is going to benefit initially a small population. But I want to underline that it is the most vulnerable population. That is those with severe mental illness who, because of their illness, they're not adherent to treatment. And I really see this as preventive medicine. It's not that we're going to prevent the condition, but we are preventing the ultimate harm of the condition, which is sometimes the patient's life. And it's not only by harming themselves in a suicide attempt, it's also self-neglect. So it will also prevent homelessness and pain to their families. So I really want to thank, it really took 10 years, all branches of government, advocacy groups. So I want to thank them all. But without the resources, you can't get this going. So thank you, Mayor, for enabling UNM and the city of Albuquerque to start this project. As a physician, as a psychiatrist, and on behalf of my colleagues, I want to thank everybody for giving us a tool to help our most vulnerable population. Thank you all.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate you very much. Thank you. So our last speaker is Margarita Chavez from the Bernalillo County Behavioral Health Special Projects Division. A week or so ago, I think we stood at St. Martin's Hope Works, and we announced the mobile crisis teams. So the county is doing a lot of tremendous work in the area of mental health. The city's doing work, the judges are doing work, the hospitals are doing work, but what's really should be encouraging to the community is that we're working together. And this is just one more of those opportunities for us to work together. So, as we go about the business of changing and literally saving lives, and this AOT project will literally save lives, we're going to count on our partners at the county as well. So, Margarita, would you come up and say a few words? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. As the mayor said, I want to continue to echo what's been said today. Is it's really, really important to recognize the unique partnership that we have here in the city of Albuquerque and Bernalillo County. It's rare for a city and county to work together, also bringing in the courts and bringing in university and hospitals locally. And I really, again, want to thank all of the partners who have been working together on this. Bernalillo County recognizes that AOT plays a huge role in the larger continuum of providing services and aid to those with serious mental illness and those who are just developing mental health issues. And again, this is a huge component which is going to help those who have the greatest amount of need, who are hitting our high systems like the jail and the ERs, and we really want to do what we can to again continue to partner with the city. So thank you, Mayor, thank you to the City of Albuquerque, to UNM and the courts for kind of taking the lead and recognizing that Bernalillo County is here to support. We all support each other in this endeavor, and we look forward to again helping and serving the community in this effort.
Thanks,
Thank you.
So I have all these experts. So the media's in the room. I have all these experts. Why don't we open it up and let you ask some questions if you have any.
I'd like to, Brian, if you wouldn't mind, you talked about the cycle.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how this program will break that cycle?
Sure.
And maybe talk about also how it's implemented. How do you find the 20? Do they? Well, I'll let you answer. And
Yeah.
go from there.
Sure. Well, I'll start with your first question. We're breaking the cycle because what we're trying to do is get to a person who has this repeated pattern. Right. The law only allows you to apply this tool to someone who has demonstrated through their previous conduct that they have difficulty engaging with treatment on a voluntary basis. And we're hopefully going to get to people when we're starting them out on the right foot as part of discharge from a hospital. Right, when a person has been stabilized and is ready to go back to the community and is able to survive safely in the community if we can keep them on their treatment. And the idea is to have them engage at that moment with a judge and to imbue them with a sense that there are expectations that they are going to follow a treatment plan, but at the same time the person is made to understand that they have a right to expect good treatment. That these services that have been arrayed for them are available, and that there are people there to help them, and and that they should expect that these services are going to actually be delivered. And so we call this the black robe effect. What we're leveraging is the power of a judge to let people know that the situation is going to be monitored. There's going to be an opportunity to come back before the court for a status conference, and we're committing the system to the patient. We're also committing the patient to the system. Both sides understand that the judge has expectations of them and has some recourse if things don't go according to plan. So that's the tool. That's the idea of how we break the cycle, and we know from studies that have been done in this and other jurisdictions that it's actually very effective. You had another question, I'm sorry?
How will you identify the 20?
Yeah, so the criteria in the law really are the guidepost for that, right? The law speaks very specifically about a person who has had multiple instances of not engaging with treatment in the last 4 years, which has led to specific consequences, be they that they got arrested as a result of not engaging, or they got hospitalized repeatedly. And the way this is going to work is that people who are about to be discharged from hospitals will be considered in terms of those criteria. Where someone who's about to be discharged is found to meet those criteria, they're going to be funneled into this program, identified as a candidate for it. A petition will be filed, and there'll be an opportunity to present evidence to the judge. The judge will have to be satisfied by clear and convincing evidence that this person actually does have this history and meets these criteria. But the way to make this work best is to identify folks at the moment when they're actually doing well, when they're coming out of hospitals.
And the person will be provided with legal representation
Yeah,
as
thank
well.
you. Thank you for pointing that out, Mayor.
The
Absolutely.
biggest chunk of this money is actually for legal representation for the individuals.
How do we make sure that they do stick with their treatment plans? Because that seems to be, when you were talking earlier, you talked
Yes.
about they're on the treatment, they break treatment, and then they get into trouble again.
Right.
What are some of the tools that this program provides that make sure that these people stay on treatment?
So the law provides a process where the court is informed of the fact that the professional who is most responsible for maintaining and supervising that treatment has a reason to think the person is not following the court order, that good faith efforts have been made to solicit that adherence to the court order, and it's not working. When the court becomes aware of that, that gives the court authority to bring the person back in for an evaluation to see whether it is now necessary to modify the court order to an inpatient court order. That is, does the person now meet criteria for hospitalization? Are they now a danger to themselves or others because of their failure to follow this treatment plan? Now, in some cases, that evaluation is going to result in a finding that no, this person has not deteriorated that far yet and actually has a right to be released back to the community. But what we find in the many places that practice this is that even if it's not ultimately going to result in modifying the order and returning the person to the hospital, just that reconnection with the treatment team, right? Coming back in for an evaluation, being reminded of the fact you have an obligation to the court, coming back before a judge is enough in most cases to get people back on track. And, you know, I don't want to suggest this works in every case. There are people for whom it's just not going to work. We are dealing with very challenging cases. But the data tells us that this is very effective for many people who have this particular struggle.
A question here?
Are
No?
these necessarily individuals who are facing criminal charges?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what makes this different from the concept of a mental health court, right? Which is something I think you already have in
Yes,
Albuquerque.
Judge has
Right.
done a masterful job of that, yes.
Yeah. So in a mental health court is for folks who are facing criminal charges, and now we're giving an opportunity to have those charges laid aside if they can follow a treatment plan and ultimately dismissed. You don't have to commit a crime as the price of admission to this particular program. This is a perfectly civil process. And so, you know, we're hopefully going to get to people before they act out in that way.
All right, well, listen, once again, all the partners, thank you. Thank you. And Senator Papen couldn't be here today, but as the mayor of the largest city in the state with half the state's population, I want to say to Senator Papen, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for your leadership getting this through. Thanks to everybody that took your time, experience, in your lives to make this happen. This literally will save lives in our community. It will improve lives in our community. It will reduce burdens on systems that are already overwhelmed, and it's just a very, very positive thing. So it's a good day for lots of people that we're able to get this put together. And to my staff, once again, thank you.